So, what if I told you that one of the most powerful guides on trading psychology wasn't written by a hedge fund manager, but was actually written thousands of years ago? Today, we're diving into a fascinating source that argues exactly that. We're pulling some powerful, timeless lessons on trading from the book of Genesis.
And the whole premise starts right here with this idea. The market is more than just charts and numbers, right? It's a mirror. It doesn't just test your strategy, it reflects you, your character, your discipline, your greed, and your fear. And the argument is that these ancient stories have been mapping out those very human flaws for millennia.
So, our journey starts in Act 1, which is all about building your world. We're talking the absolute fundamentals, how to construct your trading universe from the ground up, and, maybe more importantly, how to avoid the classic ways traders fail right at the start. Okay, so Lesson 1 draws this amazing parallel to the 6 days of creation. And the point is brilliant because it's so simple. Creation was structured. It wasn't random. There was a design, not a reaction. And that's the key for us. You have to build your entire trading world, your edge, your entry rules, your exits, your risk, your review process, before you even think about putting on a trade. And here's why that is so crucial. A system that you build in advance is your only real defense against those emotional, in-the-moment decisions. If you're still trying to figure out your rules while the market is flying around, well, your creation isn't finished. You're not trading, you're just gambling in the middle of chaos.
And that leads to this next, very personal question. Once you've built your world, can you actually live within its boundaries? I mean, really think about it. What is your forbidden fruit? What's that one setup, that one trade that always tempts you to break your own rules?
This is the Adam and Eve lesson for traders. The market is like a garden full of opportunity, but it's your rules, your discipline that protects you. The serpent isn't some outside force. It's that little voice in your own head that says, hey, just this once, about a trade that you know violates your plan. One bite, one broken rule, and it can all unravel.
And this is the core of real discipline, right here. Following the rules is easy when a setup is perfect. It's a textbook A+. The real test is when a trade almost meets your criteria. It's tempting. Having the strength to say no anyway, that's where discipline is really forged.
Now, the next challenge is what our source calls the Cain versus Abel choice. Instead of getting consumed with his brother's success, Cain should have been focused on improving his own offering. In trading, this is everything. It's about focusing on your own system, your own execution, not getting derailed by envy and comparing your results to someone else's. So the takeaway here is incredibly practical, and you should do it today. If there is a social media account that makes you feel envious or like you're falling behind, just unfollow them. Comparison is the absolute fastest way to get you to abandon a perfectly good system that works for you. Protect your focus. Okay, so that brings us to Act 2, which is all about survival. Once you've built your world, how do you withstand the inevitable chaos that the market is going to throw at you? I mean, this is the real question, isn't it? We're talking about the big ones. Flash crashes, black swan events, crazy news spikes. The floods will come, and they won't give you a heads up. The only thing that will matter is whether you were prepared before the first drop of rain fell.
And your preparation? Well, that's your risk management. You can think of it like Noah's Ark. Your stop loss? That's the door that seals you off from catastrophe. Your position sizing? Those are the dimensions that keep the boat stable. Every piece is a critical part of a structure designed for one thing, and one thing only: survival.
But what about the storms we create for ourselves? This is the Tower of Babel moment, and every trader knows this cycle. You have a great winning streak, which breeds overconfidence, which leads to over-leveraging and taking on way too much risk, and then the whole thing comes crashing down. You tried to build a tower to the heavens, and it just collapsed. And the advice here is so simple but so hard to follow, because it's totally counterintuitive. After a huge success, your instinct is to go bigger, to press your advantage. But the professional response is the opposite. You stay humble, you stick to the plan, and you maintain disciplined consistency.
This next lesson is all about faith in the journey itself. You know, Abram was told to go, but he wasn't given a detailed map. Trading is a lot like that. You have to commit to the process, the daily grind of studying, executing, reviewing, long before you see the destination of consistent profits. You just have to start walking.
And who you walk with on that journey really matters. So take a hard look at the trading communities you're in and the mentors you follow. Are they grounding you in reality, or are they just selling you a fantasy?
This is the story of Lot, who chose to live in Sodom because on the surface it looked amazing, but he ignored the corrupting culture there. The lesson for traders is so clear. Avoid communities that are built on hype and FOMO. Seek out the environments that value transparency and sound risk management, because that's where you'll actually grow.
And that brings us to our final act, mastering the long game. This is all about developing the mature mindset that you need for lasting success in this business.
Aw man, we've all done this. The market is slow, you're bored, so you force a trade that isn't really there. The source calls this the Ishmael trade, a trade born of impatience, not of promise. And what's so dangerous is that even if it's a small win, it reinforces a terrible account-killing habit.
This might be one of the most powerful metaphors of all. Esau traded his entire inheritance, his birthright, for a single bowl of soup just because he was hungry right now. And traders do this constantly. Moving your stop loss is the perfect example. You're selling your long-term discipline and wealth for the short-term relief from pain. It's a terrible, terrible trade.
And now we get to the final lesson of this whole journey. And it's one that might just reframe your entire relationship with failure.
Look at this timeline of Joseph's life. He has this big dream of greatness, but the path to get there went through a pit, slavery, and prison. Each one of those looks like a total disaster, an endpoint, but they weren't. They were necessary transitions. A blown account, a major drawdown. It feels like the end. But what if it's just the pit on the way to your palace?
And this is Joseph's perspective in the end. The worst moments of his life were the very things that prepared him for his purpose. The market will hand you devastating losses, but those losses are your greatest teachers. They are intended for your good, to strip away your ego and force you to build real skill.
So we'll end with this question, to turn this whole explainer back to you. If you're in a pit right now, if you're struggling, if you're in a drawdown, don't just ask yourself how to get out of it. Ask a better question. What is this pit preparing me for? What lesson am I meant to learn right here, right now, before the next part of my journey can begin?